Hi everyone, my name is Natalie Ledwell and I want to welcome you to the live broadcast this afternoon here on Facebook. I'm coming to you twice a week in this live format, so I get to connect with you, I get to share some wisdom and hopefully to give you a couple of little nuggets that will make a little bit of a shift or a bit of a change for you in your life. So if you are here on the broadcast, please make sure that you say a little hello. Make sure that you, tell me where you're coming in from so I can say a little cheerio and a little hi, and make sure that I acknowledge you here on the broadcast. So today we're going to be talking about your money story. Now, we all have a money story. For some of us, it can be a fairy tale, something that's great, and we have a great relationship. When you swipe right, left. Okay. So you can have a great relationship with money, or we could have a bit of a horror story. And we could have a story about money that really, stops us from being able to create the success that we want. Normally our stories are stored into our subconscious mind because they were put in there and they were conditioned into us as a small child. So for most of us, we know that that when we take on this programming, a lot of it is programmed into our subconscious mind between the ages of 2 and 6, when we are predominantly in theta brainwave activity and we're becoming sponges. So that this is where we pick up, all of it, not just about money, but about love and about, our self-image and the world and everything like that. So, it's a really important part in a child's development so that, if you have children, it's great to be talking positively about money and self-image and these kind of subjects so that we can give our kids a great foundation as they're moving forward. So I'd just like to say hi to Liz. Liz. Hello from GC. How are you? Julie Strickler. Hi, how are you today? Now, the thing is that to see what your money story is, or whether it's a good thing or a bad thing, how do you respond when it comes to money, or how do you react when it comes to money? Like right now, as I'm talking to you and you can hear this video and you're going, and you're thinking about money, what comes up for you? Where do you feel it in your body? And what are the thoughts that are going through your mind? Are they great? Or are they like a little bit fearful or a little bit constrictive? What's actually happening for you? So while I'm here, let me just say a quick hello to Michelle Kind. Hi, good to see you again, Michelle. M. Bowman from Oregon. Great to see you again, M. Lynette. Always good to see you here, Lynette. Thank you for joining. Jennifer McLean. Jennifer is from Florida. Hi, Jennifer. I actually have a friend, Jennifer McLean. So you share the same name as a really good friend of mine. There you go. Now, Lynette's saying, okay, so when I say money, you're saying that you don't have enough. Yeah, and that seems to be the story that for a lot of us. And when we're looking at how much we don't have, it's difficult for us to create more because we're only focusing on the situation in front of us. So Liz is from the Gold Coast. Great to see you, Liz. Great. Julie, was always talk about never having enough growing up. Yeah, you know what? And I understand this as well. Like I'm one of 8 kids from a country town in Australia. And so we, 8 children, I don't even know how my mum and dad did it. They're saints. I don't know how they were able to pull that off. But it was the same thing. We were never really poor, but there was never, we were always very aware of, of the amount of money that we had. So that was really interesting. Jane Devine, hi. Oh, thank you. She's saying that I'm an inspiration. Thank you very much. Amanda is from Canada. Great to see you here, Amanda. So I know that when we think about money, and I look at what my money story used to be, when I look at my situation growing up, like I said, it wasn't like yes, there was stress in the household, and a lot of it had to do, with a strain on our money. And so a lot of the programming and the stories that I had wasn't specifically about what I was told, but it was also about what I observed. So I'm observing the behavior. So, as we're kids between the ages of 2 and 6, we are such sponges, and we are very, very observant. And if you've had kids or you're around children of that age, that they pick up on everything. And so even things that are, silent or just behaviors or whatever, that we take that on as well. And so it was really interesting. I remember that before I did my work and released my money programming, I used to, when, we'd have money stresses, my MO was that I would just kind of put my head in the sand and just try and ignore it and not look at it and go, I mean, if I don't think about it, if I don't see it, hopefully it will go away, which is really not a very empowering way to be dealing with money issues. Or if I get into a conversation with Glenn about money, we'd always, go into this stressful kind of conversation about it. And there was no reason for it to go in that direction. But the reason, what I realized later, is that we were doing that, or that I was doing that, is because I was just emulating my parents' behavior, or emulating the conversations we had, that I observed when I was younger, because it was like, stress about money. Obviously, 8 kids, of course that was the case. So think about, what was happening in your household as you were growing up, and how that could, affect, what it is that you think about money right now. So what I want to do is actually talk about some of the different money stories that we have. And I'm actually taking this from a blog post, or a blog that we had a guest blog person put on our My Movies blog. Suzie de Jonge is the author of this. So yes, I'm going to go through some of the stories and see which ones you kind of relate to. So Michelle's saying, I'm trying to be more careful with my words. Yes, I know. Words are so powerful. And one of the questions that came up for me recently in the USM program is, when I can't afford it now, when I have children and they're asking for something but we can't afford it, what's the best way to language that so that it's not negative language, but that still gets the message across to children. And I think what we came up collectively together was it's not a priority right now. So you're not saying you can't afford it. You're not saying that you'll never be able to have it, but you're just saying it's just not a priority right now. So you're actually shifting the language, so you can shift it to something that's a little bit more positive, and that's still empowering and still the truth, and something that kids I think can relate to. Daniel Afonso, hello. We said we need to learn how to deal with it. Yeah, don't we? All right, so I'm going to rattle off some. We've got 10 different money stories here, that I'm going to tell you all about, and then I want you to make a note of which ones that you relate to, and then type in here for me which one is that you relate to. Okay, so number 1. So this is, did you hear this story as you were growing up, or is this something that you've adopted, or is this something that you think when you think about money? Okay, number 1. People with money are bad. Okay, people with money are bad. If you relate to that, just put a number 1 in here. Number 2, you have to work hard to get money. Now, I totally believe that. Okay, number 3, money is hard to hold on to. Now, that was me. I had no problem making money, but it would slip through my fingers like sand. And it's like, how can I have all this money and then still have nothing in the bank? And I remember my monumental moment, my pivoting moment, when everything changed for us, is I remember sitting in my desk in 2006, looking at all my bills, and at the time Glenn and I had 4 different businesses we were running at the same time, and we still didn't have enough money to cover all our invoices. It was like, what the hell is going on here? I don't understand. So if money's hard, number 3, money's hard to hold on to. Okay, number 4 is having money is greedy when others do without. Yeah, that's a bit of a and I used to say that all the time. I don't need money. I don't need it. Other people need it more than I do. So that's number 4. Having money is greedy when others do without. Number 5, I can't afford it. And we just spoke about that. Okay, so number 5, I can't afford it. Number 6 is there is a limit to the amount of money that I can earn, or the amount of money that I can accumulate. Now, I think that we all, can fall into this sometimes when it comes to, the career that we've chosen. I remember working with a lady who's a nurse, and she's like, and I can only earn a certain amount of money doing this. I'm like, well, let's get creative in how your skills can be used to serve, or maybe build a business where maybe you have other nurses, or that, you provide a service to, a home service or something. So, sometimes we go, well, this is all I can earn because this is my vocation. but that's not necessarily the case. So that was number, what was that? That was number 6. Okay. Right. Number 7, I'm just not good with money. See, I used to say that too. My mum, I swear, I have so much respect for her. She could make a dollar stretch so far. You know, like I said, you know, we were 8 kids, but we never really felt like, you know, we did without, you know, we never felt like, I remember the one Christmas where I walked out, we all came out outside one Christmas morning and there's like 8 bikes all lined up. Because Mum, you know, she knew how to save money. She knew how, you know, how to use it and use it in a good way. And I used to go, oh, Mum, I wish I got that from my mum. I never got that. But again, just saying that is perpetuating that as my reality. So I'm just not good with money. That was number 7. Okay, number 8 is I don't deserve money. I don't deserve it because I'm not good enough, or I'm not smart enough, or I'm not educated enough, or, you know, I don't work hard enough, or whatever that is. So that's number 8. I don't deserve money because ... Okay. The next one is number 9. You can't be rich and spiritual. Oh yeah, I used to believe this one too, and this one is one of my personal favorites because that doesn't make any sense whatsoever. Of course you can be, you know, an enlightened person. Of course you can be a aware person. And normally most of the time, if you are that way and you're showing up at this really good, compassionate, empathetic person, it's hard for you not to make money because, you know, that's just part of how the world works. And of course, those of us who are coming from that place of compassion and empathy and so forth, I mean, think of all the good we can do with money, right? So number 9 is you can't be rich and spiritual. I'm a recovering addict from that one. And number 10, Prince Charming is going to come along and rescue me one day. So are you someone who always thinks that you're going to marry, you know, and it could be a guy could be thinking this as well, not just women, but that you're going to marry someone who has money and then you don't have to worry about it. You know, that man will be the rescue. I don't know if we think that so much these days, but I know that definitely has been, you know, something in the past. So I can see that a lot of numbers have been going through here. And, you know, and I also can see that some of us relate to more than one of those stories. And, you know, if I look at those, there's probably about 5 of those I used to perpetuate all the time through my language, through the way I spoke, through the way I acted, the decisions that I made. And it wasn't until I realized that I had a limiting belief around money. And, you know, if you don't know the story, I was working with a friend in Sydney, and we were creating a program with her, and we were recording a video, and one of the videos was, you know, how to eliminate limiting beliefs. But she needed to do the exercise with me on camera, and I'm like, I don't have a limiting belief, you know. And she's like, really? She goes, so do you have all the money that you want? And I'm just laughed and went, no. She goes, well, let's just try it out and see how we go. And of course, she took me through a series of questions. And then what came up for me is I remembered an incident when I was 5 of kids teasing me at school because my maiden name is Roloff. And I remembered it wasn't really the teasing that was an issue, but I remembered the richer kids were the ones that teased me the most. So my story was that people with money are bad. That's where that came from. But then, of course, once I had that realization, then I started having all these memories of all these different decisions and why I thought, you know, you can't be spiritual and have money at the same time. How, you know, money doesn't grow on trees and, you know, you really have to work hard for it. Like my dad worked 3 to 4 jobs sometimes just to support us all. So he modeled what it was like for me to work. Remember, this is nothing he said. This is his behavior that I observed. So like I said, I could relate to 5 or 6 of those on that list because of my early life experience. So, you know, when you have discovered which one of those that you are, or which one of those that, which ones of those you that you can identify with, you know, write them down. I mean, with this video, you can go back and listen to it again. You know, we can go through that again. And so there are 3 questions that you want to ask yourself. So look at the list. The first question you want to ask yourself is it true? See, subconsciously, our subconscious mind wants us to believe that it's true. But with your conscious mind, sit down and look at that list and go, is it actually true? Second question you want to ask yourself is, how would I feel if I let that belief go? I can tell you how I felt. Like I had this, like I remember after that process I had all these dominoes of seeing all of these different thoughts. But then for me it was relief, because I'm thinking, why do I keep sabotaging myself? Why can't I get, financially, forward in life? Then when I realized how innocently I had taken on these beliefs and where they came from, I was like, oh goodness, now I know what they are. I can now get rid of them. So for me it was relief. And that happened in April of 2008. No, it happened in February of 2008. And we came over to the US in April 2008. We did our first launch in September 2008. And that was the big successful launch of My Movies that put us on the map. And I've been financially free ever since then. So just saying, So how would it feel if you got let go of that belief? And the third question is, what belief could I attach to money instead? Okay, so think about, what is it that you want to think instead? What do successful people think? What do wealthy people think? I'm sure that wealthy people are not sitting there and thinking, how am I going to pay the bills next month? They've already got those bills on automatic payment. They're not even looking at the bills. You want to think about, how money actually flows easily to you. So if one of your stories is that you have to work really hard for money, maybe the belief that you want is, I can work smart for money, or, money comes easily to me, or I can easily create, the money that I want from doing what I passionately feel good about, so think about all of the ways, like those stories, what is the opposite of that, and then have them written out so that when you're doing your visualizations every day and you're thinking about the wealth that you want to create and how that's going to change your life, see yourself actually acting and making decisions from these new thoughts. Now, the more often you do that, the easier we create these new neural pathways in our brain so that we can start having all this, these more positive thoughts that are in alignment with the wealth that we want to create coming through for us. Okay. Thanks, Michelle. Yeah, it is a great topic, right? I love it. My team always send me the topics to talk about, and even though I have like a bit of a guideline, I like to kind of expand on it as much as I can, so it's great. So money is not evil. Now, Carolyn, thank you for sharing that, because even though we think that one of the things is money is the root of all evil, and we think, well, the opposite is money is not evil, the words that we use are very important. So we kind of want to avoid the word evil because, every word that we say or every word that we write conjures up a picture in our mind. So the opposite of that money is the root of all evil, I would say that money is the source of all good. So you can see how every word in that sentence is positive, and that's probably a better use of words in the opposite of that belief. And Judith, yes, I love money. I agree. And remember too, it's not just the money. It's not the paper that we love. It's the people that we get to help. How generous we can be with our loved ones. How easy it makes our life. How it expands our heart and gives us joy, and for those, and not just us, but for the people around us. So there you go. Lynette's saying, so do I need to change my mindset about money? I'm thinking that if you are in a situation where I talk about money, like if I say the words "I love money," how does that make you feel? Like if you get like, "Ooh, I don't know about that. That sounds like a little bit self-serving," then yeah, you want to change your mindset about money. You want to think positively about money and think of all the good that it is, and write down these more positive thoughts and really see yourself operating from this new thought paradigm. Okay, so guys, it has been awesome talking to you today. Wow, the time's gone really fast. So of course, every day I do one of these. I have a link or something for you. So I'm going to make sure the team puts the link in here for you, and which is very pertinent to the subject that we talked about today. It's a link to our little 30-second quiz, which helps you to identify what thoughts and what is actually sabotaging you and holding you back from really creating the wealth or the love or the life or the health that you want. So make sure that you click on the link, go through and do our little 30-second quiz. and we can give you the results of that very quickly. So guys, thank you so much for joining me today. It's been an absolute pleasure. I can see that this subject has really been very relevant or pertinent for a lot of people that are here on the broadcast. So remember, if there is something that you'd love me to cover while I do these broadcasts, I can definitely do that. I will be back on Friday around the same time, but we'll make sure that we send out a notice beforehand so you know when that's going to be. All right, guys, thank you so much for joining me today. Mwah! Enjoy the rest of your Wednesday, and I'll speak to you soon. Bye for now.